This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
What the hell do you want?
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, that's about how I feel today. Garrett knows because I had to complain about like a work situation when I walked in the door, and that's normally not what I do.
No, you're pretty casual.
But like because my whole world came crashing down last night, and Florida State's team is total effing garbage right now.
A little bit.
And they lost to Boston College, a team that I was worried about because they should have lost to them last year.
Yes, they should have.
They were a very stupid Boston College penalty away from possibly losing the game. Now, Boston College still would have had to score, but they weren't like they had the momentum.
Yes, they did.
They had the momentum. And Thomas Castellanos, who FSU offered as an athlete out of high school, he went to UCF, then he transferred to Boston College, seems to have his best moments. Now, I want you to really think about that offense last night they ran, and I'm going to get into DJU in a minute. They didn't run anything really to the outsides. They ran straight up the middle.
Yes.
So 2 weeks in a row, straight up the middle, which was supposed to be a strength of this team. We were told that. Well, it's the second biggest weakness. Now, they have in both games figured out enough to where if they had any kind of production on offense or were doing it correctly, then it would not be as big of a problem in games like this. But my God, this is bad. This is really bad. Now, I'm trying not to overreact, but you shouldn't be 0-2 coming off of 13-0 or 13-1, whatever you want to say. But like, it feels to me that since December 5th of last year, the air has completely come out of the balloon. And they have so many ghosts that they're dealing with. They're making, not their own making, but it's a lot. And the biggest problem out of all this, though, is that they did the thing that every coach everywhere does. And you knew it's going to happen sometime. I can fix him. I can fix him. No, you can't. He's broken. You cannot fix DJU at this point.
You can't. And my thing is, like, if you know what you're wanting to run, what style of play you're wanting to do, and that's your bread and butter, and you've proven that you've had success playing this way, why you would go and pursue a quarterback who doesn't fit your scheme like that? That's what it's the disconnect with me. And I know, and you'll be the first one to tell you, Cam Ward was the first guy everybody wanted. He was y'all's number one guy, and he would have been the ideal fit for this. Yeah. But when you miss on Cam Ward, you've got to do a better job of pivoting and finding somebody close to that. Now, it's difficult because Cam Ward's elite.
No,
but you've got to be able to find somebody who can. Castellanos would have been the perfect fit. I know he wasn't in the portal, but
yeah. Thomas Castellanos would have been what they they would win more games with many other quarterbacks than they would DJU. And we're going to play that game in a minute, but we'll skip, like when you get to that, we'll just skip Cam Ward right off the bat because everybody would want it. They wanted him. It was them in Miami and them in Miami. And then ultimately it was Miami. Now, was that a bigger NIL bag, or was that he felt it was a better fit? Like what? Like, doesn't matter. They didn't get him.
Yeah.
Now they need to figure out the reason they didn't get him and figure out if it's something that they could have done better, or if it was just like, and look, I agree with drawing a line in the sand of what you're going to pay for a 1-year quarterback, right? So you do have to draw a line in the sand for that. And maybe that was it. If that's it, and he went, again, it doesn't matter really why to the outside world they didn't get him. They just didn't get him. Internally, they need to make sure that, like, look, if you're going to push your chips in the middle of the table, and I know this is your offense, Mike Norvell, and you want to call this, but part of the other problem is that it's like he has not accepted who DJU is, and they're not running plays to protect DJU from himself, like Oregon State and Jonathan Smith did. So this is a really good time for them to have that early bye week and get back into, look, they're paying. Here's the other thing. Those defensive tackles, Joshua Farmer, Darrell Jackson came in last year, got caught up in the he was one of the guys that transferred before they changed the rule. Then they he's one of the lawsuit winners, but he still lost a whole year of playing. But he's part of the problem. But Derek Farmer was one of the guys, and Patrick Payton's with the other one. There were like 3 guys, DJ Lundy, that all got in the portal. DJ Lundy even committed to Colorado, and then they went and upped the money and brought him back. Well, you got to play better. If you go and pull that stunt, I think you owe it to the team to come back and say, yeah, well,
prove your worth.
You get it, but if I'm a guy who's behind him on the depth chart, watching him make more money than me and get run over, like, that's going to create divisions, and that's the thing. So yeah, FSU season ostensibly to me is over, even though I know it's not. But this is not a team I can see right now, this moment, winning the next 10 games in a row, given their schedule is Memphis and Clemson and Duke and North Carolina and Miami and admittedly a bad Florida team, but like they've got this is a tough schedule. Now, last year, this team, granted they didn't beat Boston College by that much, but you take the team last year, put them in Ireland, and then put them at home against Boston College. It's 2-0, and we're not even thinking about it. But they lost a lot, and it's evident. And there are a lot of things that in the top 5 today is going to be talking about how them and Clemson are kind of almost in the exact same boat. Sometimes for different reasons, but it's like they're both this year at least doing half of what they need to do.
Right.
And one is doing one half and the other's doing the other half. I'll just give you a little preview, like roster building. Dabo Swinney's still one of the best high school recruiters in the country, but he won't pepper it up with transfers to help out for those ones that he misses, because everybody misses on one, or guys get hurt. They can't play anymore. They flunk out of school. There's all those things. Mike Norvell is not very good at high school recruiting compared to Dabo Swinney. He's on the top 12 to 15 classes. Well, they're getting top 5 classes. So FSU needs to start getting a top 5 recruiting class, top 10 recruiting class, and a top 5 to 10 transfer class. And that's where I think you've got to go moving forward. For example, Lane Kiffin, by far number 1 transfer class this year, but also had like the number 7 or 8 high school
got a
class.
balance to it.
So it balances out. But when you have this high of the high school or this high of the high school and here or vice versa, you're going to have problems. You've got to build your, like, if you're going to build a roster like a pro team, you can't do it all one way or the other. I'll tell you, the Cowboys are like this, right? The Cowboys don't really make trades, all that. Like, they've made a couple minor ones, but they don't go for that, like the big thing that could be an X factor trade.
Yeah,
that's where I think people get confused about, like, Cowboy fans, like, I don't want them to go full sail into free agency. That's what the Browns do. I don't want them to do that. I want the Cowboys to, when they're in position to make a move, like the 49ers do, or the Eagles do, where, you know what, we think that we're close, we're going to go get this guy and get over the top.
Yeah.
They'll do that. The Cowboys won't. And that's where the problem is. Now, the other end of that spectrum is the teams like the Browns, who just like, oh, we have $80 million in cap room because none of our draft picks get to their second contract because most of them suck. So we're going to go spend $80 million in cap room. And the same thing happens over and over again. The same thing will happen in college where, you could be like Dabo and only want high school kids. And you're wondering, like, well, why am I not quite as good? Well, yeah, because you've got older veteran guys that are ready to step in and play key positions when teams have, you can fill a hole quicker. Now, you shouldn't fill all the holes with that, or that should be the top layer, but the bottom layer that's going to be the stability is the kids you're going to develop and bring through your program. And part of this is the world of NIL, and all this will probably balance out in the future roster-wise, where it's going to be easier for everybody to work it. But right now, when you can go in the portal whenever you want, you have to recruit your own roster all the time, and you can't really focus on development as much as you did in the past. This is going to happen. And Mike Norvell hit it out of the park with so many of those guys. When you talk about the guys that he put in the program, now, Jordan Travis was not his transfer, but he coached him up well.
Correct.
But every single transfer that he brought in before was not like DJU. These were not 5-star guys who were on their last spot. These were guys who, even though they might have been like in Oregon, like a Trey Benson, or, Georgia, like Jermaine Johnson, were a little bit blocked and needed a place to shine. So Jermaine Johnson, huge pickup for them, and what wound up being a first-round draft pick. Would not probably have been a first-round draft pick at Georgia, not because he wasn't that good, but because they had 4 defensive ends, and like he was just kind of in the rotation. So he comes to Florida State and he has double-digit sacks. You're like, oh, well, this guy's a stud. That was that situation. Jared Verse was at Albany.
Yes.
Braden Fisk was at Western Michigan.
See, those are the transfers that, like, as everything's unfolded, and like from my perspective, we'll really focus on LSU, but looking at it as general, I think that there's more upside with those players that transfer up because you have something more to prove. I'm more comfortable with programs who evaluate that way, and when they add the transfers, it's guys who are making that step up rather than you do like the TCU approach to last year where you go and get all these names and everything out of the portal from Alabama and these bigger programs, and they just don't hit because they've maxed out their potential, and just because you were a 5-star in high school and you didn't pan out, like, to me, you got to be cautious with it. So when I'm looking at it, I'm more inclined to believe in a player coming from a smaller school making a jump up than a player that's like on his second Power 5 program, because there's a reason you're not clicking and hitting at these places, because you wouldn't be in the portal at this point. So that's kind of where I'm at with looking at what you're dealing with Florida State, because the players they brought in weren't that. They weren't the people that were hungry and looking for an opportunity to better themselves and make that next push to the league. It's just guys that were there. And I don't know if that's kind of indicative on misevaluating players, and not just from a coach's perspective, because we've seen it all offseason. Like, and we talk about PFF and their grading system and how that can be skewed or it's different, but there were so many players, whether it was quarterbacks or these interior linemen, who were judged that they were supposed to come out and make these extra leaps and position themselves to be high draft picks. And it is vastly like missing across the board. There have been so many people who aren't living up to the expectations. And I don't know if that's you get a bag and you kind of feel like you don't need to put in that extra work, or you just have been you've maxed out your potential and you've been in college so long that there's just nothing else you can do. But there's a weird balancing act here that teams are going to have to figure out pretty quick, or you're going to see a lot more Florida State situations unfolding across the nation.
Yeah. I mean, like I have faith that Mike Norvell is smart enough to get this fixed. He's very good at identifying specific problems that they have, but he fell into a trap here about that every coach falls into with a 5-star guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was the number 2 prospect. Number 1 was Bryce Young. Number 3 was CJ Stroud.
But both of them have been in the league and
both
balling.
of those have already now been in the league.
That's the difference.
One of them won a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
One of them probably would have won the Heisman Trophy should the other one not have existed, right?
Right.
You know, those kind of things. Like it, even though CJ Stroud's numbers at Ohio State weren't like gaudy, he was just so damn good. Like you knew he
so
was
much
good.
talent around him too. Like,
yeah, I mean, so it was like, yeah, they, but yeah, he fell in it, you know, and if they wind up having to play Brock Glenn or Luke Kromenuk this year, then that's it. I mean, it's already like 0-2. It's already a waste of money. They've already wasted the money they spent on DJU.
That's what I was wondering last night, dude. Like at some point, like in the third or fourth quarter, I was like, do you leave him out there? Is this a financial like obligation?
What is that like? It tells me I'm maybe worried about the other quarterbacks.
But was Brock Glenn the one that came in last year?
Yeah,
he looked pretty good though. Like why? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, he was so overmatched.
But he wasn't. It was like
now Rodemaker looked fine against Florida late. Like I think he got his had Tate Rodemaker, who's now at Southern Miss, had he
maybe
not
he's the one
gotten hurt in the Florida game, I think if Tate Rodemaker hadn't gotten hurt and played against Louisville, and then they had scored points against Louisville, maybe the Jordan Travis broken leg thing doesn't come into play as much. But them being on the third quarterback who did nothing against Louisville, you know, all night long. And then, you know, you saw what happened when all the starters left against Georgia. You know, it's a problem. But, you know, they legitimately, and here's what I'll tell you, the defense was a problem last night, but the defense only gave up 21 points in my estimation. That near pick 6 and going in from the 11-yard line, or, you know, that they went, that was a horrible, first of all, horrible coaching decision early in the third quarter. When you're only down, like at that point, they were only down a score. It was 14-6 to go for it, you know, with 13 minutes left to go in the third quarter, you know, behind the 50, when you've got a quarterback who couldn't hit shit if he fell in the toilet. You know, like, what are you doing? Like, that was, to me, a really, really bad decision that, you know, really, really probably broke DJU a little bit more than he was already broken. So, like, why are you even doing this? And also, you know, your defense couldn't keep him off the field in the first half, but part of that, or in the first quarter, part of that was they had 2 3-and-outs. They didn't run the ball. Like, run the ball. What are you doing? Well, like, you're trying to run. I got it. They're trying to run the offense that was so prolific last year, but no Jordan Travis, no Keon Coleman, no Johnny Wilson, no Jaheim Bill, no Trey Benson. Now, do they have playmakers that could be that? I don't know. You know why I don't know? Because the quarterback can't get the ball to them.
Well, see,
so
my thing is like, and I get where you're coming from with the Boston College only scoring 28 points, but man, they didn't need to score. They dominate. They realized.
I mean, like, so
that
like,
was some NFL.
Thinking of the, like, week over week, the defense gave up 21 and 24. That's manageable, even though the defense isn't good. If you can keep giving up 21 and 24 in modern college football, that's manageable. It's not great, but it's manageable, right?
Right.
But when the offense spots them another 7, and then the offense cannot do anything, then you can't do that. You can't, you know, you can't be reverse Iowa. Like, they're not good at either side of the ball right now, but you can't be bad at both, you know, and you know, I say the outside, like, they bought that wheel route every time Trayshawn Ward, who used to be on their team, ran it, it played well for them. It just, again, he was blocked because they had Trey Benson and Toafili and all these other guys. Like, you get it, but
he didn't do much at Kansas State. It's not like he's
no, I know, but he was again fired up last night.
Yeah,
and then they didn't do anything to stop him. So it was bizarre. Like, I thought that Norvell was kind of past all that, and that they were in a point where they could run, roll out there, be fundamental and do that. And if you remember when we talked to people who cover FSU, it's like, I expect to see the big plays down a little bit, but this should be a run-first offense. They have the whole offensive line back. They're deep at that position, and they should run the ball and protect DJU more. But that's not, in the 2 games, that's not what they've done at all. As a matter of fact, the first drive, the most successful offensive possession they had all year was the first drive last week in Ireland.
They looked damn good.
They looked fantastic, went right down the field, and guess what happened on that drive? DJU threw 2 passes, short little planned, flare-outs, and the rest of the time was running backs. So what are you doing?
At this point, though, like, what can you realistically change if you're Florida State? Because DJU's proven that he can't stretch the field. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no reason any team on their schedule should fear DJU being able to spread the field. So if you load the box, they've proven like they struggled.
He's not fast enough to run out of it.
Offensively right now, if you're Florida State.
You can't, that's why I think you got to open it up. I mean, I think that you have to open it up. Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhoek have to be options for you. And if they're not, then do they need to be on the roster next year either?
No.
Like, that's my thing. If they can't help you at least be a little bit better now, and I actually think that they can be.
It can't get much worse.
I mean, that was bad last night. That was bad. So much so that, like, why not, when it's 14-6 after halftime and he's been bad, roll out Brock Glenn.
That's my question.
Run the ball, like, get him in a rhythm and see what he does. Give him a couple shots to do things and see it go. There's something else going on there that we're not completely aware of. So, all right, we're going to take a break here, and Garrett is going to list 10. Did you have 10 quarterbacks?
Yeah, 10 that I've watched, 9 or 10 that I've watched this season.
9 or 10 that he's watched. These are all transfer quarterbacks.
Most of them, yes.
Most of them are transfer quarterbacks.
Yes.
Okay. Of who would you rather have than DJU? We're going to play that. I want to say thank you to a new sponsor, Thick Golf. They make golf balls. Here you go, and apparel. So they've got that. They've got the Moonshot Pro, which is a 4-layer ball, and the Moonshot, which is a 3-layer ball. Emery and Smokey are going to get a sleeve of each, and Emery is going to tell me how they work for him. If it improves his game or worsens his game, it's like he's telling us to worsen, but I don't know if it can get worse. It can't worsen it. So how they improve the game, how he enjoys hitting them. So Thick Golf, go to thickgolf.com and order some golf balls. I'll put the link up here shortly, but there you go. So welcome aboard to Thick Golf. Also, later in the day today, our good friends at Green Gridiron have sent us our helmet.
Oh,
so we will be unboxing and opening that. Garrett, how do you think we should do that? Do you think we should do that on the main show?
I think so. I think we should get into the main show and do it at the top, and then maybe go into the smokestack, because we got a decent amount, but it's nothing like it was yesterday.
No. So yeah, so there we go. But we're going to do that. That's going to bring me some joy today. By the way, Garrett, I tweeted out last night in the third quarter after the pick, after that interception. I tweeted out, okay, Twitter, weed or gummy? And most people said both.
Yeah, I was one of them.
Or both. Whiskey or gummy. Most people said both. Here's the problem. My wife saw me do that, so she said I had to pick one or the other. And I picked gummy.
You sleep good at least?
Yeah. It was magical. I realized that we're all just particles.
Pretty much.
Like floating through the universe. And it was the thing is I took it a little bit too late for it to not bother me during the game, like for the stress level to go out during the game, really. But afterward was
pretty
quite nice.
Yes.
Quite nice. So Thanks to another sponsor, by the way, Cycling Frog.
Yes.
That's another new one we'll tell you about, but they just sent me some stuff to try. So, but yes, I took a Cycling Frog gummy last night and I drifted off to dreamland.
How's your mental health? You okay?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I was looking forward to having I thought 10-2, 9-3, this is the season. I thought that was going to be the case. It's not going to be that more than likely right now.
No, it's not.
They have to go 9-1 or 10-0 on the way out to hit my expectations. Not impossible, obviously. You can win any given day, but it's impossible given the current state of things. So right now, they've got to regroup in their bye week and get ready for Memphis. Now, normally, in past years, Florida State versus Memphis wouldn't scare the crap out of me, but it scared me before all this started. Like, it scared me going into the year when I had no idea that there was this much rot in the wood. So
I know, like, this the way things have started out would be bad regardless. But how much worse is it that it's come on standalone games to start the season?
Well, you know how I feel because it happened to you the last 3 years.
Oh my God.
And FSU has done it twice. Like, it's the only game on TV. They're this villain now, so everybody gets to take this lap. And believe me, they've earned the storm. The dog shit guy had to come back on and say, like, I'm not going to do it. Well, we knew you weren't, so
don't even put that out there.
Don't even put that out there. Like, he called out the thunder, and yeah, no, shouldn't have done it. So yeah, all that, like, you have all these loud, obnoxious fans that say we should be here, we should be this, we're entitled to this, and both Clemson and Florida State, got waxed. If Florida State last week didn't get beat badly. I mean, they lost. They lost by 3, but this week lost badly to Boston College. And Clemson lost to a team that they aspire to be going into that conference by so much, you wouldn't, you don't even recognize them. Florida State's now lost. They're 0-2 in the conference. And that's like being 0-4 in the conference because now you need help on the way out. So while you have to hope the conference beats each other up and you go on a winning streak, it doesn't look like that now. So yeah, they're like everything that like loud, obnoxious Florida State fans about realignment they deserve all this. They deserve it. They brought it on themselves. Like, you got to dish it out and take it. And, but I do think that December 5th, like, that was a day that changed the program. And I wonder how much that if this is not going to be a thing that's going to take 2 years to clear.
Yeah, that's
right. This was maybe from the Orange Bowl on, this was always going to be a lost season and no one realized it because there's no way to get over that.
That's what I'm concerned about.
Is this a TCU post Georgia? Like, did Georgia blow you out even though you weren't playing at even close to full strength? You had all the opt-outs and injuries, and it wasn't just the opt-outs of the guys going to the draft. It was the guys who were slightly banged up that, like, when you have 14 opt-outs, you're like, well, we're going to have 14 guys in the injured list because I'm not going to go like make them tough it out. Like, yeah, I know it's just a bruised knee, but no, like, they're not going to play in this game that means nothing. Plus, no one wanted to be in it. Like, everybody felt. I wonder if that hangover is still there. I think it kind of is.
Kind of?
I might not kind of. I think it very much is. And I think it's one of those things that you can either clear it right away and attack it with a vengeance, or like, okay, well, that happened, let's go. Or you can not get out of the cycle. And what do they say about revenge? Like, if you go out for revenge, you might as well dig 2 graves. And so, like, I think that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, because, looking at Norvell last night, he looked just completely lost at times. And I was just wondering, like, man, how do you mentally bounce back? Because if you're looking like this, everybody's looking at you. The players look dejected. Like, I'm just concerned, like, if it's like one more loss and you completely lose the locker room, like, because you were on to something. That Georgia when they got left out and everything that's unfolded, they are still in their own heads about that. And I don't know how you can fix it at this point.
Yeah, because now you're seeing ghosts.
And the
Everything
social
is on you,
media is on you.
Yeah, everybody's on them. Yeah, look, the biggest thing they need to do right now is go back to the drawing board and figure out how to beat Memphis. And then after that, figure out, how to beat Clemson, and then figure out how to beat SMU, and figure out how to beat, I know it's cliche, but like really
like one game at a time.
They can't like at this point. And I do think that's part of it. They started the season thinking, okay, this is a playoff team. Well, now the good news is that you can't think about that until the end. You have to look up at the end and go, oh, we fixed it, or not. But right now, you really do. Like, you can't even – the word playoff shouldn't even come into their mouth. The only thing that they should be talking about is Memphis and how to, tell DJU that you're not the starting quarterback anymore. Because I don't think that – and I think you'll probably get another shot at it. One more game, but I think you've seen what you need to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's no really – I don't know how you're going to get much better.
This was not an aggressive quarterback making mistakes because he took chances. This is a quarterback that has wide open receivers on 2 different touchdown drives that would have flipped the game, and doesn't even shorts one and then fires one into the third row when he could have underhanded it to the receiver.
Yeah, he's shell-shocked.
Yeah.
He's shell-shocked.
He's got the yips. He's got the yips. All right, we're going to play. Yeah, SMU, first ACC game at home. Here we go. I finally get to lay my eyes. I finally get to lay my eyes on my guys in person. For the first time in over a decade.
This is what you get?
Yeah, the hell, bro. Come on, man. I'm sitting here in your corner. I'm not Danny Cannell. I'm not Bud Elliott. I know that. I'm not that popular. I should be, but I'm not. I'm not. I don't get it. And I think I'm more reasonable than most. I think I'm a pretty reasonable fan when it comes to the teams that I like. You don't hear me coming in here being unreasonably braggadocious. Mm-hmm. Now, I will talk some noise when our teams play, but I usually wait until after because I don't like being put in that position. And Georgia Tech scared me. BC scared me because last year was that BC game.
That BC game we watched it here. Man.
That was the one. That was the one they just got away with. Pitt. They kind of just got away with Pitt, but they beat Pitt by Pitt didn't score. But it was sloppy against Pitt because they were down. Wilson and Keon were both out, and they kind of had to do it a little bit differently. But yeah, I'm not that guy, but here I am. I'm out here advocating for you, trying to explain the boat. I get both sides. I really don't want them to leave the ACC. I especially don't want them to now.
Hell, nobody wants them.
God. Yeah,
no, I mean, that's funny because I saw a tweet last night that reminded me. It was a guy looking at his phone. It said my birthday. It had 2 text messages. If my team loses, 700. It's
So, but yeah, Paxton says if he keeps playing DJU, I question him as a coach. So do I. I mean, I know that he knows more than we do, but also we have eyes. This is not him. He's not barely missing, or this is not the receivers not winning on routes. He's missing wide open guys.
See, here's the thing. This was going to happen inevitably. This was inevitably going to happen. It just happens to be happening at Florida State. How much of this is when you financially commit to somebody, you have to stick it out longer, or because you're losing.
You know what? Here's the thing. Sometimes you gotta write down some losses. That's what you have to do. You're well, that was, we're going to lose money on that.
But it's new territory that people are trying to balance, though.
Yeah, it is a new territory. But Bobby B told me this morning they need to hire me as director of football ops, and I was like, I mean, if only.
Yeah.
I I would be very good at like if they just called me up and go, hey, what do you think about this quarterback? Like, I'm not going to X and O and like, he's this and he's that.
Right.
I'll just tell them what, like, I would even have done this for Billy Napier if he called me about Graham Mertz. I've been like, Billy, what has he won?
Exactly.
Like, when does he win? Like quarterbacks are the ones who fairly and unfairly get tagged with leading the team to wins. And it's all about that when it's not told, like sometimes it's unfair and sometimes it's
Correct.
fair. But when you have a guy how many times has a guy like DJU or Graham Mertz willed their team to a win?
Maybe like, I bet you could probably find 2 to 3 games ever on their tape. Like for college.
Between the two of them.
Probably.
Between the two of them. Yeah. How many times did CJ Stroud do it?
Oh,
How many times, and I'll just tell you, like, Kate Klubnik, same in this group of those guys. Like, how many times have you willed them to a win?
Mm-hmm.
Florida State had a guy who did that in Jordan Travis, who willed them to wins. Jane Daniels willed FSU to some wins and said, I'm doing this. Now, maybe it's not as much. Bryce Young, God in heaven, that Auburn game where he played about as terrible as he could, but just needed 2 good minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He took those 2 good minutes and made them happen. Tim Tebow willed his team to wins. And now I'm listing off elite quarterbacks here, but I can also go into the lower rung and tell you that Josh Heupel willed his team to wins. He wasn't a Heisman Trophy winner. He was on a fantastic team that won the title. Josh Heupel did it. There's a lot of, like, again, Michael Bishop did it.
Sam Ellinger.
Sam Ellinger, God in heaven, yes, he willed his team to win. Yeah, willed his team to wins. Not a Heisman Trophy winner, but really good. But I have not seen
Baker Mayfield would do it, but he won the Heisman. But
yeah, but Baker built it. Like, part of the reason he won the Heisman was people started watching because he would straight will the team to wins.
I loved that.
He was that
when he did that Ohio State. Oh, I love that.
DJU doesn't have that button.
No,
doesn't have that button. We're going to go through and see if some of these guys have that button. This is 365 Sports.
Fantasy Sports EVO, the next evolution of daily fantasy sports. Tired of traditional fantasy sports where you spend hours upon hours studying individual players? EVO's unique team-based platform makes it easier than ever for all sports fans to play. No need to know individual players. Just choose your contest, select your teams, and enjoy the game. Whether you access our website from a desktop, mobile device, or the app, the experience is the same. EVO is for all sports fans. Join Fantasy Sports EVO and experience the evolution.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back, Paul Catalina and Garrett Ross. And don't be surprised if we end the show a little early today, because I might have to save some of this emotion for when I have to talk about this again.
And they're gonna come.
Do you know who my favorite person in the world is today?
Emery, because he didn't say nothing.
No, no, absolutely not. No,
Craig definitely said something.
Yeah, no, he's already. Yeah, no, I've already seen him.
Quick.
But my favorite person today is GJ Kenny, who we have at 310.
Yeah,
and then we have this Green Gridiron thing, which is way more exciting.
So everybody that's buying you a little more time. I got you.
Yeah, let's just push this off. Because look, I'm here. I'm bearing my soul. And I'm, like I said, I'm the Cowboys analyst who's a Cowboys fan who will tell you very realistically what's going on.
You have to, man.
I don't pump sunshine.
Yeah.
Now, most of us are like that. Like, I'll tell you, there's not a lot of Cowboys sunshine pumpers left.
I mean, y'all have, yeah.
There's not, they haven't won in a long time.
Y'all like us, Washington.
I'll tell you everything that Florida State doesn't do that they need to do to be where they want to be, but I'm not going to dog them like I would they're like this is a very interesting transitional period. And look, Mike Norvell hit on the portal so much, like fixing that team, but the guys he's recruited haven't developed yet, even the upper level ones to that. I mean, he's pretty, like, he's a good developmental coach. I think there's no question about that, but he also needs to be like, he needs a better staff to recruit. Right. I think he needs to upgrade the recruiting staff.
But it's hard to recruit where they're at, dude. Like you're literally surrounded by freaking Georgia and Bama, and you're financially at a place. Well, it's going to get there. Like it's going to be difficult.
Well, they're just going to have to decide. Like the thing is that they're going to have to SMU the outside of it to as much as they can. Of like, okay, if we want to be on par with them, then we've got to cover this budget gap for this long of recruiting football this way. So I don't know. I mean, like it's daunting, and you could understand because so much is wrapped up in football, and that's the biggest thing there. That why they want to get out and why they think this is a horrible deal. And I think if you asked all of the teams in the ACC, even the ones that are thrilled to have it, like, don't you find it stupid that we have to wait for 14 years? They'd be like, yeah, we do have to. We do find it stupid, but we are where we are, and it's fine. We're not going to help somebody further damage this league,
right?
But yeah, it's. And look, here's the thing. It's different leadership now at Florida State than the ones who signed that TV agreement. But even still, they do have to, like, I'm sure they're going back going, why would you do this? Why would you take away, like, the best thing that you can have is leverage in situations. And why would you agree to throw away your leverage for, at the time, was 20 years? Why would you throw away your leverage for 20 years? Because
I think it was sold as stability in a time when there really wasn't streaming yet and everything. And they they didn't forecast the future.
But that's stupid because the reason they did it is just right before the Big 12 was unstable, right?
That's what I'm saying.
So like right before then, like, did you think those problems were solved? No.
I mean, probably not. But
I mean, it's never like, I thought forever that there would be an eventuality where A&M and Texas played every year.
Right.
Now, for Texas to go to the SEC, I never really wrapped my head around that, because that to me would have meant Texas thinking less of its own opinion than it has historically in the past when it comes to league decisions. Like in the Big 12, they essentially, if they didn't like it, it didn't happen.
It did go by, yeah.
Now in the SEC, if they don't like it and everyone else does, then it's like, well, this is the L you take.
Yeah.
Deal with it. And then they can, afterwards they can all sit at the bar and be like, let me tell you about 94. We tried to get this rule in. And, yeah, sorry, Arkansas. Like here's to the 94 Arkansas. And then Bama's like, you may think that we get our way all the time, but let me tell you about these years. And then they all have it.
Yep.
Like the thing about like productivity is that everybody's happy, but not getting everything that they want, because you can't
find a fine balance though.
Yeah. You can't give everybody everything they want, because then that goes in conflict, right?
It creates entitlement.
Like if yes, but it also, yes, it creates entitlement. And so it creates a situation. If somebody came in here and said, all right, we're going to give Emory and Garrett and Paul the salary they want, like whatever demands they have, we're going to do it. And we're not going to say no to them ever. So the more the three of us come up with demands, the more likelihood that those demands are going to intersect with each other and collide. We're like, well, I don't really want to work on Thursdays and Fridays anymore. Well, Garrett doesn't really want to work on Mondays and Tuesdays. Well, then how are we going to get to the podcast any day of the week? It's like, well, I mean, I guess we'll just do it on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And like, well, no, we're paying you to do this many days of work. So I was like, well, you told me that I could do whatever I wanted. So now I guess we're just going to do one show. And then Emory's like, well, I don't want to do Wednesdays. So there's going to be the only day that we do the show. We don't have Emory helping us, So then like, here we are in conflict. That's why you can't just give everybody everything. But I do wonder why the people in the ACC thought that like the Big 12 lost 4 teams in 2 years and replace them with smaller schools. With only 2. They lost 4. They replaced them with 2 with smaller schools. Not dogging West Virginia or TCU at all, but
no, it's
you know,
facts.
when you lose Nebraska and A&M and Mizzou and Colorado, and then you replace them with schools that are, one of the schools is half the school size of any of them in TCU, that's less eyeballs you're going to have on your conference. And the ACC didn't think, oh, that's never going to happen to us. We have this deal, and everybody will sign it and not be mad about it. Also, they're like, oh, well, they never thought that somebody might get more TV money on another contract. Like, you're just telling the media person, the media company, no, we're good for 20 years. Is $25 million the same in 2036 that it is in 2016? God, I hope not.
Hell no.
You know, well, maybe I hope so, because that means inflation hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But the history of Earth tells us that's not true. You know, you can, you know, ask your parents how much hamburgers used to cost and, you know, faint when they say, oh, a quarter. Like, okay, well, it's not that anymore.
No.
It's like, you know, the dollar menu's about to be the $3 menu. You know, that's how things are going to be. But let's play our little game here, Garrett.
Okay. So
you give me a quarterback and I will tell you yes or no. And I'm probably saying yes to all these.
All right, let's go. First one, Diego Pavia.
Yes, absolutely. El Pribon, you're telling me I would love El Pribon. I think El Pribon would be great in this offense. He's got moxie. You know, he's got that little bit of like, okay, let's take a chance. Let's do some things. And he completes passes.
All right. Another transfer that caught my attention. And this one, I could say hit or miss on, because I think there's still some room to work with. But Taylor Green in that offense.
Yeah, I would. I absolutely would. I mean, he's only played against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
He could be.
But, yeah, I mean, same skill set. Yes, Taylor Green.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Riley Leonard.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Of course, yeah. Bleeder, gutsy, moxie, like all those things.
Another transfer, but this was last year, and he's already got a dub over you, Haynes King.
Yes.
That one I can see argument on, because Haynes still has some stuff to work on, but
I've watched him a couple times will a team to a win.
Straight up, yeah, beat you. Okay. Transfers. One y'all could have possibly gotten the mix. You got his half brother or whatever, Kyron Drones. Would you have taken him?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And actually, the half brother's gone.
Yeah, I know he was left last year, but
yeah.
Now these are ones that aren't transfers, but that have watched over the first 2 weeks that I think would definitely be better.
Yeah,
without any question. Shadur, definitely. Noah Fafita, obviously. Nuss, Miller Moss, and Drew Aller. Like those are guys.
Those guys, yeah. But look, I'll go through some transfers. I'll say Kyle McCord. Would rather have him.
I'll almost put him.
Kyle McCord. Will Howard. Rather have him.
Okay.
You know, both the guys on the end of that Ohio State argument. Trying to think of who else. I'll tell you, even though we haven't seen he's the MAC player of the year, I would take Taquan Finn, honestly, over DJU right now, because
I think his legs, I'm still concerned about the decision making on some of the passes, but
here's the thing. He gets it close.
He does get it close.
DJ's not getting it close.
No. He's not really pushing the ball down the field.
No. You know, I like in a just normal world, Arch Manning would have been in the portal last year. But
what about Malik Murphy?
Yeah, I would rather have Malik Murphy. Absolutely. I even thought that, like, you know, it's somebody they should kick the tires on. But I mean, he might. I don't know. I think he's got upside. He's on his way here. Like, he's not even to his full potential. We've seen, like, again, give me guys who are on their way up or who have proven. Kyle McCord lost a game last year.
He's still in the portal. He could be.
What?
No, because Cam Ward's is still in the portal. But
I mean, he's gone to Syracuse. He had a big game against Ohio. I know it's Ohio, but like, completed passes, didn't he? Okay. Yeah, there's not many I would say no to.
Yeah, that's kind of us. Are there any? All right. Where's DJU stack up against the quarterbacks in Florida at colleges? Like, how many other quarterbacks in colleges in Florida would you rather have? Like USF and everybody?
I'd rather have KJ Jefferson as bland as he was the other day. I'd rather have Byron Brown. Obviously, I'd rather have Cam Ward. I'd rather have DJ Lagway, but I'm not that crazy. But there's only one quarterback I want less, and it's Graham Mertz. But they're in the same category to me. I wouldn't really want Cade Klubnik right now.
No.
Part of that is Dab was making a Jimbo mistake there with Garrett Riley. He's had Garrett Riley come in and run the Clemson offense, and he didn't. But you hired Garrett Riley to run Garrett Riley's offense. You don't hire Garrett Riley to run an offense that people have figured out. Like you hire a new guy to bring in a new offense. So.
Another quarterback that just hit me that transferred that's about mid. Tyler Van Dyke. Would you have rather had him?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm trying to think of some people here that can push DJU a little.
I think it's the same thing. I wouldn't I'd rather just
obviously Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, you would have.
Heck yeah.
It's just tricky, man. It's hard to think of guys who aren't either legit stars or on the same.
I mean, but basically there's the guys that are swimming in the pool that DJU is, and then there's guys that I would just rather take chances on. Taylor Green was one of the ones I did think about when you brought him up. Was look, he's going to be sophomore. He's a sophomore. He started some games last year, didn't win it, but bring him in, have a competition. So,
well, you all right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I was finally, for the last 2 years, I've been happy during football season. And now I'm not going to be. I asked Amanda, Amanda gets really mad after Kansas losses.
Oh,
I asked Amanda, can I act like you do after Kansas losses? And she said, please don't.
Oh,
yeah.
Put that one in the holster.
Well, I mean, no, she knows. She knows. She knows that she gets. Yeah, no, it's not. I don't know.
Do you have any optimism?
No,
at all. Is there any positives, any silver lining on this roster?
Not until I see somebody else play quarterback. I think there's guys who are talented, and I think right now they might have a schematic problem that clearly people have figured out that you can run up the middle on them, because I don't think everybody's wrong in assessing the talent. I think that they've got a schematic issue that they need to fix because teams are just running right down the middle at them. And I do think that there is but I don't know, I don't know what's going on offense until I see somebody who can be different. I don't even know if either one of the two that are available would be better, but I do think that they need to try something different.
Well, a couple of those throws, though, I will give DJU the benefit of the doubt, because y'all's tight end had a couple that could have kept drives alive and made significant plays, and he just dropped it too. So I'll give him a pass on that. But
Kyle Morlock had a rough game, but it shouldn't be the game should not hinge on him dropping a couple passes when many more just never even got close. Also, it bothers me how he has to clap 30 times to get the ball. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was trying to make the defense jump or if that was.
Well, he's not good at it.
No, I know.
So,
well,
all right. Well, I'm going to wrap this show up.
Okay.
I've got to record a top 5, and I got to talk to Jack.
Well, who do we got coming up on the main show then?
We got GJ Kenny. We've got John McClain. I don't know. I'm just sad. We also have Sam Herder, Hero Sports FCS analyst, and we've got Bob Thompson. So
that'll be nice.
Yeah, Bob Thompson talking a little media with us and everything that's going on. So exciting.
The timing on that.
Yeah, I'm a broken man. I mean, it's fine. I'm a broken man. I'm not going to enjoy football season this year. It's not going to happen. It's going to make me like happy but mad that like Kansas, my wife's alma mater, is going to be better in football. And, you know, I just kind of had to hold that over her head, but you know,
they got a quarterback.
Yeah.
They got a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, no, I would crawl across broken glass and hot coals and, you know, do like a fear factor.
You ever thought that was like that you would want a Kansas quarterback over a Florida State quarterback?
No, never
Damn.
once in my life. But now, like, you know, I'm just sitting outside the fence. Give me some of that sweet Jalen Daniels. Put it right in here. Just put it right in here. So anyway, well, I appreciate you guys commiserating with me. And, you know, if I believe that the sun will come out again, then maybe I'll be happier on tomorrow. Steven Simcox will be here. So
yeah, he'll be here.
So that'll make me happy. And then Thursday, Pierre will be on again. So that should make me happy. But right now, I can just tell you, there's not many things that feel worse than 0-2. And 0-2 with a loss at home to Boston College is honestly, it's like having diarrhea. It really, I'd rather have diarrhea. I honestly would rather have diarrhea. I have more control over that.
You put that in the Red Solo Cup for the dude.
Yeah.
Baby.
Here's the thing. I'm embarrassed for FSU Nation that one, we have this clown in our fan base, and two, that he doesn't have the stones to just do it.
What about the
look, here's the thing. He just all he has to do is get like a little fork of it. Like put a little plastic fork into some and like daints it on his tongue. That counts.
No, he said he would eat a whole cup though.
Well, you know. Anyway.
All right,
that's going to do it for us. You know, the whole world is bleak and full of sadness and there's no tomorrow, but we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.